melee guy, and his hero pool, as good as he is pretty limited right now. His experience is low. We've talked about he has less than 5,000 lifetime games of Dota 2, including like all of his accounts. So that's pretty impressive to think that he's even here, but he's a specialist. So why not just give him a hero he's ultra comfortable on at the beginning of the draft? And if you don't feel comfortable picking anything other than the IO Lesh first round as your reliable opener, I see no problem with this.
But also the spot already looks better because we couldn't see the impact that we wanted to see out of Arya because he was laning into IO Slark, which is a nigh impossible lane for a Batrider, especially as support. Like,
True.
How does he fight into that? But there's no IO in this game, so definitely going to see more impact coming out of Arya.
This is almost a full minute of bonus time for an opening Tidehunter pick. Faith Beyond, this is not a hero we often see as an opening. What do you make of it?
You mean Tidehunter?
Yeah. Did I say I meant Tidehunter? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's a very common opening.
No, it's not. No.
Maybe they just want. Okay, we pick our offlane combo first, then we can have like easier pick on top lane and mid lane. Yeah.
And it looks like they could potentially be trying something here, which is always good to see from teams that are topping the groups, that they're willing to experiment with their strategies and they have the leeway to do so. Maybe just the Batrider pick was enough to solicit, okay, let's test out our Tide opening. This hero, we can have him frontline these team fights. He can't get lassoed because he'll dispel it with Kraken Shell. Let's see where it takes us.
That was exactly what I was thinking. Is last game they went with Slark as an immediate response. Not an easy hero to lasso at all. A lot of teams I think have underestimated that if you just give Batrider these point-click targets that are, he's going to lasso you and it's going to suddenly end the fight right there. Yeah, the Kraken Shell. What I want to see from TSM, if they can, is a ranged Silver Edge builder. I know that sounds kind of specific, but now all of a sudden that just shuts down this Tidehunter pick entirely. I didn't need to see it here, but that's what I'm looking for moving forward in the draft. Timbersaw, hero largely ignored last draft. I think he got banned second round or maybe even third round.
He did. Second round. So do you like it here on the second pick?
It's good against the Tide, but I wouldn't say it's particularly amazing against Disruptor. Disruptor always punishes these ability casting heroes that rely on mobility, and Timbersaw is absolutely one of them. The only thing teamAster needs now is some guy to hit the Timbersaw when he's locked in that kinetic field static storm. Bloodseeker would have been great. What else is there?
What else is there?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
I mean, I feel like potentially Medusa for Team Aster, just to lane versus a Timbersaw and try to exploit it. Like, yeah, there is a Batrider and the Flame Break could be an easy way to gank her, but it is a strategy that Aster are comfortable with. There's something to take advantage of it on lane. We've seen an influx of Lunas lately, too.
Lunas?
We've seen an influx of those.
Well, I do want to point out that the Terrorblade is still in, and it looked really good. If the first phase picked it, why not second phase pick it and make it look even better?
Last game they did ban Tidehunter after picking Terrorblade, so you had mentioned during our first draft that like these teams are showing us how to protect the cores there, and so maybe they think that the Anchor Smash plus Kraken Shell damage block is too powerful against a percent base or like a base damage hero like Terrorblade with illusions. I would love to see a potential Ursa for Aster. I know a lot of teams have been struggling with this hero, but we've also seen, for instance, Team Secret, who's on the rampage, going 5 wins in a row right now. They've even utilized Ursa for Chrysalis and
Monkey King.
Yeah, I don't like Monkey King as much against Batrider specifically. Okay. But just because of the Firefly breaking trees and having the sticky napalm to consistently cancel your Primal Spring. But I would be totally fine with that pick as a way to address the Timbersaw.
Wait, you say Ursa?
Yeah, Ursa.
No, that's a trash hero.
No! You've agreed with me on so many things up until this point. This is when I know he's serious. Why is it a trash hero?
You just lose lane every game, and now Nullifier is so popular, you just can't do anything.
Okay, I'm sold.
I didn't take much there.
They take out the Morphling and the Medusa on the side of TSM. We mentioned a Medusa potentially for Aster, but Morphling would have fit the build too. He's a good axe target for Morph, and also he's a high sustain hero that can hold his own against Timbersaw. I wonder if maybe Drow Ranger is an option here. I mean, it doesn't seem like the most conventional hero, but
for which team?
For Aster. Okay. Even TSM, you talked about ranged Silver Edge buyers, and now both teams are in a position where they could build something like this.
For Aster, it's a good choice. Monet also, he loves play Drow Ranger.
Oh, I see a Luna getting moused over there.
Well, at this stage of the game, doesn't Kaka normally gets his hero? Like, Lion is pretty decent still this game, or is it too squishy?
Rubik.
Rubik. Well, he does get his hero either
Yeah.
way.
Did you say Luna getting messed over?
Yeah.
I said there was an influx of those.
Yeah, that's why I referenced it. Yeah, that's just a nice, reliable pick for them. That I'm sure TSM's kind of got on the radar, as Timbersaw historically has always been countered by ranged heroes in lane, in the sense that he can't abuse Whirling Death. Luna's always been a nice staple.
5 seconds.
The nice thing about Aster is that they have second pick, so this is the best position for them to try to fit in a ranged carry into their draft. Because now they can see if they're threatened by any kind of gap close, which they don't seem like they are so far. And there is Batrider, but that's kind of whatever now.
But at the moment, are we going under the assumption that Timber is their offlane, or is Timber very much still a flex hero for them?
It's still flex because we don't see the mid laner
Yeah.
for teamAster, so
Yeah.
Timbersaw could be open.
Now TSM need to pick a carry. There's no much carry in the pool right now.
The reason why Luna's even better is we talk about Luna as like a 9th pick carry when you don't see your laning opponent. In this case, it's good against Timbersaw in lane, and also if they elect to move the Timbersaw to mid. There's not necessarily any offlaners that just absolutely destroy Luna. She's a very reliable carry, so it would allow them to kind of cover all of those bases, knowing that they have the absolute last pick and not giving Timbersaw a good matchup either way.
And it's just quite good with aura buyers like Tidehunter, because she's a hero that likes to group up with her team anyway, so they can take advantage of the aura.
True.
But I wonder, what kind of carry do you think are TSM looking at right now? Because Faith had mentioned that most of the good carries are banned out.
Maybe Void. I don't love it against Disruptor, but I like it against the other two.
First you have to win the lane. Oh,
Oh. Elder Titan, Templar Assassin. So they keep more flex alive,
yeah.
because the Templar Assassin can, of course, go mid and safe lane. Elder Titan is most likely going to be white one, so we know at least that. But that's, I mean, do you like that they keep it that flex?
Honestly, I didn't expect these two picks, but now I feel it might be good because ET looks like a good counter initiation here, and TA also. I think now at safe lane he can have a good game, and also you can flex it to mid lane. It gives just more opportunity for teams.
Yeah, it does. The draft is still open, and that's the ideal position to be in before you go into your 23 pick. Also, it's a good TA game because the two supports on the side of Aster, Rubik and Disruptor, get shredded by Meld. Like, she can kill them so quickly. And Aster counter with the typical, or traditional rather, TA counter, right? Reflection is so good at removing refraction charges, and Terrorblade just outfights her so easily.
But you're dealing with ET Aura, Batrider, Timbersaw. I think other than the TA, this Terrorblade pick doesn't look great on paper.
Yeah, I agree on Brian, and now I see a very good hero for TSM, Zeus.
Oh!
Hey,
You have so much damage.
But
We
then-
don't.
the Godfather. Zeus is
But
unpicked,
then
by
you
the way,
have
so
Tide,
far.
and he buys Pipe first item. Pipe, very nice for him.
Or
I've
Tinker,
seen a lot
maybe.
of Tides do it. Tinker sounds cool.
That would be cool.
I feel like Zeus is so easy to counter these days, especially if you have a support like Disruptor, who's really good versus mobility heroes, so he can't heavenly jump out. He also just gets like silenced by Static Storm, and Disruptor is a natural Glimmer Cape buyer, and Zeus sucks his patch because of Pipe and Glimmer Cape and all of these barriers.
Aster is on a different wavelength right now, though, because they ban out a Tomato hero, so they're expecting this Templar Assassin to still go to the mid lane.
I think they'll cover their bases, take out a mid laner, take out a potential carry.
Yeah, you have two options because the TA is good against everything but the Terrorblade, but you also have what we talked about, 3 heroes that are pretty good against Terrorblade. I think if TSM were to leave this TA as a carry and put a mid laner that feels pretty confident playing into this lineup, just doesn't get wailed on by Terrorblade pretty much. Any hero with natural mobility, I'd be happy with that. But I'm also happy that Aster's kind of taking out what TSM traditionally goes for, heroes like the Drow.
I think for TSM they better put this TA on carry, because if you pick a new carry, it means this carry you must, you need him to carry you to win against Terrorblade.
Yeah, too many things.
Yeah, and this will weak the TA. And if you pick a mid, then we can play 3 cores, then TA is fine. We can have 2 cores deal with Terrorblade, and TA just deal with other
I agree.
heroes.
What about Juggernaut then? I feel like Juggernaut's pretty good against Tidehunter, Disruptor, and Rubik, and with 6 slots he can beat up the TB.
I think too much farm. If,
He needs too much farm?
yeah, I think they best pick like Zeus or I think some mage. They can fight, and you can also have a good performance at the late game. That's a best option, I think.
Yeah, mid laner ideally for me here. Agreed.
Oh, I've never seen Aster ban that fast. They're like, okay, TSM is, you know, running short on the old bonus time.
Oh,
Okay, they
Wow,
pick up the
we
Dark
still
Seer,
have
so-
this
that
hero.
works too, actually.
Yeah, Timber mid.
I'm pretty happy with that pick, actually. Maybe the Sumail SF. That'd be pretty hype for me. Just put a little showcase on for this Timber mid. One of the few heroes we've seen that just absolutely wrecks him in lane.
10 seconds remaining.
I think the issue with SF though is that you have 2 heroes in TB and SF that kind of want to do the same thing, which is dish out as much damage as possible from a range in the Ravage, and it's just too many easy targets for a TSM.
And Leshrac coming out, and everybody fell silent.
I'm not gonna
Why is
lie.
this?
I actually like TSM's draft way better this game. I'm a big fan of everything they're doing here. I'm a little bit skeptical on the execution side of it, but I think they've got all the answers. The only hero that causes this TA issues is the Terrorblade, and now they've got a 4th counter with the Darkseer, one of the absolute hardest counters in the game. So I'm gonna go with TSM for this one. I'm gonna, you know, put myself out on a limb here.
I'm thinking about it. Okay,
Yeah,
so the Leshrac,
Yeah.
I think without a steroid type hero to make him stronger, gets easily exploited by the picks TSM have, because not only do they have lasso, but no save for the lasso on the side of Aster, but they have a natural aura buyer, like they have their pipe buyer, they have their Greaves buyer and Darkseer, so it just feels like it was kind of like, let's pick a hero that does a lot of damage and wins mid, and that's Leshrac, but TSM's draft seems more well-rounded.
I'm kind of worried about TSM because they pick a Darkseer. It looks good against Terrorblade, but I feel if TA got limited in teamfight, they don't have enough damage to kill Leshrac or Terrorblade. They do have a good teamfight, but after they also have Tidehunter and Disruptor, which is very strong in teamfight. So I think they really need a good game on TA.
Yeah. I want to see a Silver Edge on Tomato. I want to see the lasso onto the Tide with the Silver Edge hit. Suddenly, TSM wins the team fights because there's no Ravage coming out. That's the win condition. They're going to see it. They're going to own this game. Absolutely.
I feel like Darkseer's TV illusion, though, is going to give them damage if their TA doesn't have a good position, right?
Well, we're
Darkseer's
gonna
a great
have
hero.
to wait and find out. Is there enough damage on TSM to bring down Aster? We're finding out with Cap and SVG.
TSM in the play-in stage did manage to tie their series with Aster. And in this group stage, Avery, they could really use the tie because they are bottom of the group right now. Being able to just get a tie over the best team in the group would still give them a chance.
To a future of grief.
But where does it end? Is this team just gonna tie for another 5 years?
No, because they lost a lot already.
Okay, well, I guess the old tie strategy doesn't work out eventually.
I mean, eventually you get out of groups with ties, and then you head into best of threes, and then there is a third definitive game that you will either win or lose. Either way, sounds like our panel were hopeful for some of the ideas that TSM is going here for the draft. I mean, they've got some comfort mixed with some decent counter picks, but I did appreciate Faith Beyond pointing out there may be a damage problem. If their lanes do not go well enough, they may not be able to burst down the Terrorblade or the Leshrac fast enough in these fights. And if you don't do that, then the damage output from those two can be rather immense.
I think it can go both ways, though. If you look at Aster, outside of TB and Lesh just wailing on people, the other 3 from Aster, it's a lot of utility, stuns, kind of control. It has to lock in place so that the damage is coming out during the same time as those stun durations are ticking on TSM, especially since they're probably going to have decent aura timings here on the Darkseer. Whereas the Tide, I think the Tide's game is way harder than Darkseer's in this type of situation. I don't know how good his lane's going to be into TA Elder Titan with a Rubik. This should be a lane that Whitemon basically has free reign over. And I think when you give Elder Titan free reign on the lane, this hero's pretty terrifying. Got a courier as well with regen. This is a very nice start for TSM. I expect TSM to win the safe lane very hard if they play it to perfection.
Will they win the off lane? Because this is the same
That's true.
duo that we saw from game 1, and they did not manage to do so well. But I do. Oh, that is a nice glimpse. Got him to the other side, straight into the hands of Monet, and that will be your first blood.
Monet did not last hit it though. A little unfortunate for Aster. Still, they're going to be happy about that pickup as, I mean, Monet was 25-0 last game. We'll see what he can put up with the Terrorblade here. It is a pretty decent Terrorblade game if you can get to like the BKB later on. There's almost nothing that goes through it there. And that's maybe where the damage problem lies. It's a lot of spell damage coming out from TSM in the early mid game. If you do get auras on the Tidehunter, you're going to be really happy here on Aster, and you got to protect your Leshrac. If the Leshrac just gets bursted by Timbersaw pure damage, plus maybe in the duration of a lasso and shells, then that fight goes TSM's way. So maybe this game also comes down to Ahri a lot. I think he had a pretty standout performance on that Batrider in game 1. Yeah, go back for it here in game 2, maybe for that reason. It is a pretty decent Batrider game in the sense of there's no save again for the lasso, right? There's like a glimpse. Still, at a certain point, you have Blink, BKB, Force Staff. You go in, you drag the Terrorblade, you drag the Leshrac and all your damage into a meld, into a Chakram. It could be a similar setup that TSM probably felt good about in game 1. They just lacked the ability to scale with stuns and late game damage in that game.
I mean, they were talking about the Silver Edge build for Tomato.
Could be good.
Lasso the Tidehunter into a Silver Edge hit to break him. And that is something that we saw a lot out of the Southeast Asian teams, actually. And I do think some of the South American players like to be able to go the early Crystallis. I'm not sure if they've done it in this meta, but in previous metas, they've also liked that item.
Yeah, that is for sure a Southeast Asian build. I don't know how much the other regions will even do it. I feel like when I ask people, do you like this Crystallis on the TA? Most of the other regions players told me, no, I think it's absolute garbage. So, you know, I guess that's what it's worth, which is not much as SEA's recent results haven't been great. But hey, Talon's back on top, so look who's laughing now, Crystallis haters and Crystallis haters.
Yeah, I guess they're both getting a little bit of comeuppance lately. It seems like Team Secret's doing all right for themselves.
Hard to know which one you're talking about these days.
It's true. Once again, though, I will point out, I feel like this offlane for TSM is not functioning. I feel like the IO Slark was hard to beat. I feel like this lane should be easier. Am I wrong?
This lane's not incredibly strong. I mean, it's strong when you have meta up. You have a glimpse chase down with a kinetic field. Bad Darkseer is just, it's like a level 3 power spike timing lane. The level 1 and 2 is okay if you start abusing the support. I don't know, it's very weird. They decided to cut the wave with this again. I think there is a world where you maybe just fight it.
Oh, White
Mon. He's
going to go for the stomp, but that is going to be a second kill going over to Aster.
That is a bad kill to give away here. This is not a lane you should die on as the Elder Titan. Pretty much the only way you're dying on is if you get lifted into Gush under the tower, which is what happened. Just a straight up overextension here in a lane that I think is a very free Elder Titan lane. Like, these are good matchups. It's not much to dissuade you running into with the Spirit early. You salve back up, you go in again. You even have a Meld Strike to help you. It's very good synergy if you ever landed here.
Tomato doesn't want to let Kaka have this. Kaka should be free to be able to take the Lotus because he has telekinesis, but he's going to take a lot of damage for it, so he might have to eat it right away to stay alive. No, he's good, but he does take a hefty amount of damage for that resource.
I mean, you got to ring on XXS, though. Aster's super happy with how these lanes are going right now.
Kasane going to be pulled back in. They do have a vacuum. He's going to throw it last second here and go down fighting.
And Aster have showed up today, continuing their run in this tournament and looking very solid in both these early games.
Just look what's happening mid, by the way. 22-4 for Sumail, so...
I don't even need to watch, I know.
What, that Sumail's going to beat Brow in the mid lane matchup?
I mean...
That Sumail Leshrac is going to dominate?
What does Kendrick always say, Cap?
I don't know. What does he say, Avery?
Man's got royalty in his DNA. Enough said right there.
That's true.
King be kingin'. He's even going to get the bottle refill. By the way, I'm pretty sure that's why he was tipping and lapping at XXS, because Yawar told me that XXS just yells at their supports to go refill Sumail's bottle.
Is that true?
Apparently XXS knows a couple phrases in English. So he would just tell Baboka, like, yo, go refill Sumail bottle, go refill Sumail bottle.
Sumail bottle, Sumail bottle. That's hilarious, man.
I don't know if I believe that, you know, but it's a pretty good story either way.
Yawar isn't a good source?
Yawar is a source. Yes.
For those who are a little bit confused, Yawar is here at the tournament. That's why he has this
He's helping Aster out, giving him his insight. Nice little second coaching job. As Monet will have his first death of the series. Shame.
Shame.
Terrible performance so far from Monet here.
Yeah, that looks like Sumail's gonna have to carry it.
Now his KDA is what, only 26-1 instead of 26-0? Yeah, very sad for him. But a nice pickup for TSM as they really want some extra levels on his Darkseer so he can power up the other two melees and the Bat Rider in the fights. It's kind of the linchpin of this lineup when you get it really late here. As well as stacking. Stacking, I think, is going to be a big factor this game. If you can play these lanes efficiently, win them small, and get stacks up for either of these teams, you're going to be pretty happy with it because you want the TA to accelerate off some Ancients later on, and you kind of want some Ancients to fall back on with the Terrorblade or the Tidehunter, especially if you go this Meteor Hammer build. Like, you take 2 tier 1s with Tide, and then you have Ancients to fall back on, you're just highest network in the game, and you become unkillable. And I think that's what XSS is probably going to be looking for here, as he is rushing that hammer and almost has it.
Oh, bumped him back down the cliff. Is this enough for Ari to get a kill? Well, he's going to run into a meta Monet, so never mind. And he's going to be glimpsed back into his doom. Meanwhile, the mid lane, Bryle's also going to die there. So Aster really running away with a strong laning phase now. It seems like TSM, I think they drafted themselves a laning phase win in game 1 and didn't get it. Now that they don't have that advantage, they are being kind of run over.
Sumail just opened up way too big a lead on this mid lane with the Leshrac Timber matchup. It is a Leshrac favorite lane. Of course, Sumail, one of the best laners in the world, and then Kaka just takes full advantage of it, gets a big roam kill, a lot of XP going towards him. They'll get the return here, never mind.
Glimpsed back
Kasane's in trouble. He has no surge.
Unfortunately, the meta runs out. That is the only reason that Kasane is going to stay alive.
Thankful for that one.
Remember when we were talking about how the Chinese teams needed to like shore up their laning phase a little bit more? Do you feel like this is a showcase of that, or do you feel like TSM is just doing poorly?
I think Aster have definitely performed way better on lanes this tournament overall. I think TSM have not shown their 100% potential in these lanes in the series, for sure. Still, I think Aster have gotten a lot better. I'm still looking for that from LGD, but I think if you look at Aster and Extreme Gaming, they've definitely stepped it up. I mean, they're competing with these European teams in the first 5-10 minutes here. This game, you have an NA team. NA teams, generally their laning is pretty solid, and I mean, Aster are just running circles around them right now. Sumail is way too far ahead for where he should be, and he's looking to steal some stacks. You cannot give this up if you are TSM.
Ryle's gonna cut over, and please tell me the damage. Oh god, he's gonna get the kill on Ari before he goes down. It does mean, interesting enough, he gets a 3rd kill. He gets a killing spree out of that one, so it might have actually been kind of okay.
Yeah, that's kind of nice for Bryle. Bryle's like, thanks, man. Thanks for the boost. Gets a stack on top of it. Now he's almost level 8. If Sumail got that stack, Bryle's game was in trouble. So that's a big objective for TSM to defend in the early game here. Again, the stacking, pretty important to both these teams to push their cores into where they want to be. Those Ancients are going to be sitting there waiting for Tomato the second he decides his time bottom is done. Might be soon. I mean, you're getting a little scared down here when you have this hammer up. If they decide to pull the Lesh to bottom, you just die in that combo. So TSM need to keep track of where Sumail is on this map right now, and if you're Aster, it's kind of time to start playing through him. You're gonna have to get forced out defensively here. That's a win for TSM.
Yeah, Tomato's very happy with that. He's been kicking XXS away from the tower, aggressively going at him, because he does want to let him just get free Meteor Hammer shots on the tower.
More skirmishing top as they run into each other again here.
Another glimpse backwards, a vacuum used on top of the flame break. Kasane tries to come in for the kill, can't quite get it.
Monet's just trying to farm neutrals. He's like, guys, I'm not trying to kill you, I swear. I just want to kill some Alpha Wolves. But if you insist, fine. I will take your soul.
By the way, I think Picho almost died. I think he got mana burnt by that neutral creep. There was like a chunk of damage he took randomly. I'm not sure what it was.
What neutral creep mana burns you?
The blue satyr.
I don't think the satyrs just mana burn you randomly, though.
Maybe they don't, but he took some sort of damage. I wasn't sure what it was.
Hag's Labyrinth over here, bro. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Regeneration.
Now those ogres.
Those ogres do randomly aggro for sure.
Well, Tomato is having a pretty good game here. That is very important for TSM. I want this TA to be the majority of their damage in those fights, which means getting him a lot of solo XP. He's going to have even more of it off those Ancients eventually later. I guess Bryle could take it, depending on who you want to push ahead here. I guess that's an interesting discussion. He did get a lot of levels recently. I feel like I'm giving it to TA. Even if the Timbers game isn't great here, I don't know, I feel like he has to just make it up in the fight off of his spells slaying people.
Does what damage he can before he gets glimpsed away. Another great flame break. Bumps him down into the river. Allows Bryle to catch up to claim the kill.
I feel like I've seen this before.
A few times. A lot of fighting in this area. Power rune, 10 minutes. Samael gonna guess that it's bottom.
And it is double damage, though he wants the kills here. He is very far
TA
up.
seeping in on the side. If they can get the stun on him, Samael might die for this. Oh, instant melt shot, but the chakram is slowing him down. Didn't hit the splitter, so Bryle gets in front of him. Timber chains through him, and they get him. A big kill to get. Samael was getting a lot out of this game. As you could see, he was worth quite the pretty penny. Almost 700 gold for him.
That's that royal DNA. It's going to feed it right.
That's true. Break open the king's coffers and let the gold spill down to the peasants.
That was kind of a bad death, honestly. I think just slightly overextended position. Didn't think the stun would latch, but it does. And then Aster in a tough position. They don't have saves for the Lesh here. It's kind of running in with him is where the team fight's strong. Just puts them in a weird spot. They didn't have the levels on the supports either to be able to take that straight up fight. They will find a glimpse into Gush. This is kind of where their damage is limited.
This is very aggressive, though. Diving
yes.
a long time underneath the tier 1 tower. The only reason there wasn't a response from TSM is because they were doing those ancients.
I mean, Smail's back. He wants this with Edict and the catapult.
See if he gets it, though. Kasane, good position to get a vacuum. No heroes to follow it up, though, unless the stomp can stall it long enough for Tomato to get here. Kaka gonna be slowed down. But
that's a stolen wall Kasane's stuck in.
Bryle clips him with the chakram from downtown.
Yeah, see you later. Nice little tower defense from TSM. Well, I was going to say tower defense, but the tower did end up dying to the catapult, actually. Did not get denied. The bottom tier 1 did get denied by Tomato earlier.
Oh, they're going for the kill on Monet. He had a TA trap on him, slowing him down a bit. They're going to be able to flame break him and then lasso him before the Sunder, but he actually used the Sunder early, so now they commit the lasso. The damage is still going to come through, it looks like. As soon as the Static Storm is done, Monet will fall. There it goes.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting out of that one. Just too far up on the map. Got to respect the move speed at which these heroes from TSM can just change lanes here with the Surge, the Batrider Firefly, the Timber Chains. A little faster than Monet thought, and that'll put a second death on his board.
Okay, this time Samael commits to getting the power rune. He guesses correctly again, and he gets probably one of the best runes you can get for a
nice one.
track.
It's a very nice one, especially when you go this Yule's build, because now he can just be hyper aggressive with it, probably not die in the first usage. I still don't really understand where the resurgence of this Yule's came from when it was gone for so long. It is cool to see. I like Yule's Lesh. I think it's still very strong. It gives you a bunch more play options. It's very aggressive. It gives you more independence. Like, you don't always need a bunch of supports with you to make plays in the fights. This item's still good on this hero. The Yule's itself has been nerfed over time. I think that's why it fell off. That's why I'm curious why it all of a sudden came back. We saw C-Smile going to blink Yule's a bit that looked really good, but nobody else. And now it's just meta and meta.
Kasane, if he can get the vacuum, but he misses Monet. Only hits Pichot. Might be able to get that kill, but they're going to trade out here for sure.
Hasted Lash.
Oh, nice stomp. That's going to maybe let Bryle get away. The splitter still lands on him. Long Timber Chain. He needs another one to get away from this one. Samael does have that haste rune cooking. They're going to chase after Bryle. Actually, the haste rune is now expired. Chakram clips Bryle. Looks like Kaka wants to get some revenge for earlier.
He did. What a 10-head player right here as Kaka drags him down with him.
They're going to catch up to Whitemon, slowed down by the Gush. Meanwhile, this fight is still going on with Kasane. He finally chased down Pichot, and then, like, Samael chased after him. He just TPs away after a split earth lands.
Other factor is the Yule's is going to be nice to remove some of these Surge and Shells, right? Dispel is very good this game. First the Elder Titan as well. Even the bat jumps, like, you get this blink first on bat, you blink and you get defensive Yule's. There's a lot of things that Samael can use for this game, and that fight pays off with the haste rune. Has to find a couple. I like that move by Kaka, you know? Go down guns blazing.
Yeah. That's how I want to go.
I also like the fact he obs for that kill on the camp.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's probably worth it. It's not a bad obs to have either.
Nope.
Around that the outpost area. XXS, they're going to pull him back in. Oh,
Yeah, that
Ryle breaks the lasso. When you do that damage to him, Kraken Shell's going to proc. So they don't drag him very far away. Now he's going to use the Ravage. Static Storm, Split Earth, a whole bunch of spells with a Stolen Chakram to boot will easily bring down Bryle. And then once he's dead, it's pretty easy to just glimpse back another one. Great vacuum, though. Maybe they can get something more off of this one with another stomp coming in from Whitemon. Couldn't stop the TP away. So far, only getting the Rubik, maybe Smail.
Oh, they would really like this Disco Pony right now.
They would, but I think Pichot's going to guard him. He's
What
got
grenades
Glimpse,
they have?
Kinetic Fields, a lot of options there.
That was the Deso for Tomato. He would have really liked to have joined that fight and gotten some early charges off it. He did clear through all of those Ancients, by the way, so he's almost level 14 here, which is just goddamn absurd. Yeah, TSM can use this TA strength right now with the early Deso, plus his levels, plus the next item in the Blink.
Wait, why is he such a high level?
Take him out of nowhere.
Is he getting like solo Ancient
Yeah,
stacks?
he got like 10 Ancient camps, dude. Look at his CS right now.
They gave him
171,
71, Jesus.
Structures are fortified.
This is what that safe lane TA that Aster didn't rotate the Lesh into is going to do for TSM here. You got to prioritize something then. Tomato just had a free game and he's going to take a free tower here. Puts that Deso to use.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
You see Whitemon using the stop bug on his Spirit.
Oh yeah, that is like a...
That's
you
a
don't
good
abuse
Elder
that.
Titan player.
Yeah, you're not an ET player.
Yeah. Specifically, when you watch his Spirit come back, when it automatically comes back, you can slow it down if you want to keep it out in an area. That's what he was trying to do there. Good catch on Sumail for TSM. They'll get that kill. Aster not able to get a response here. As Pichot is going to be chased by Ari. He's going to now be chased by Bryle.
Dire's top tower is
No stuns though, so he's fine.
This game is definitely a very different pace from Aster though. Like, they're kind of just having to farm for some of their later scale items on all three of these cores. It's a bit more clunkier. They have to play around the Ravage cooldown a bit more to take these 5-on-5s. So there's a lot more breathing room for TSM in this game. And they also don't feel as pressured to just run down lanes and maybe get the push going as fast as they did last game. Though those lanes went pretty bad, so they didn't get to that point. Here they can kind of just waddle their way into Roshan eventually, kill it with the Deso TA, and then start the advance of the map.
They're going for Bryle, but there's a lot of heroes behind him. What they didn't realize, Elder Titan hits his stomp and gets Bryle out of there. Who it wants to take this fight, though? Because TSM have plenty of members, and they do have that Deso TA waiting in the wings here for an
Kaka is
opportunity.
going up so far.
That's Kaka, baby.
I mean, that is Kaka. He's freaking dead here for sure.
Dead Kaka.
That was a very bold move. I mean, he had traps. He's trying to get...
Oh, what a flame break! XSS has the TP back to the tier 2, so he's out of fight for a little bit here. Samail, Static Storm, they're using a lot to try and save him. Look at Bryle keeping his distance. He knows that Ravage is coming in. It lands, but there's no damage behind it. The meta TV only just somewhere in the area, but Monet's like, guys, this fight was already over. Now he's gonna get caught by the lasso. Oh no, Monet has an opportunity. Gets off the Sunder, turns the damage back around on Ari, but he's gotta get away from these damage dealers. Tomato and Bryle have nothing stopping them now. They're gonna chase down whatever heroes they can catch up. That's gonna be a triple for Tomato off for the kill on Pichot.
Deso charges, adding up now, putting those levels to use almost 16 here off that fight. There's just no answer for the Templar Assassin right now, especially when Tomato has so many frontliners to run in for him. Every hero on this team is going in and causing chaos. You don't have a chance to focus this Templar Assassin at any point in these engagements. I mean, it's a bold move by Kaka. I'll give it to him. You know, he's getting that trap up there. They really need this Rubik to survive in the fights, though. His Chakram steals have been pivotal to bringing Bryle down. It just puts Aster in an awkward position. The Cliff does not help out either, and the Ravage is way too late here. Nothing syncing up. This is what I talked about with this Aster lineup. If you don't line up the disables with the damage between the Terrorblade Lesh, this lineup is not doing anything for you. It's just a bunch of dead spells.
That was actually the worst example of it. Ravage after the Leshrek's dead, but before the Terrorblade can get there.
I mean, it can be harder than it sounds when you're playing against a lineup like TSM's that can poke and prod and force you into weird positions, has some vision with the Spirit and a bunch of frontliners that are going in. It can put you in these weird spots where you're not sure if you have enough burst damage going in with the Ravage on a hero like the Timber Saw. So, like this XXS want to just go in with that blink and commit with the Leshrac, but then Sumail's getting worn down. Then the TA blinks on the side and meld strikes him like, that's what's causing XXS problems right now. It's also kind of the clunkiness of the Aster lineup. As it goes later, it'll be easier to decide for them. It's just saying that they're going to have to push through for now. And of course, these Roshans I don't think were ever theirs to get in this game. I think that was always going to be Tomato's, at least the first one. Just with the start he had and the fact that you have Bat Rider, Elder Titan, Darkseer around the pit.
I like this move from Roshan Pit, going through the portal and heading to this bottom lane. I think when you're a TA, so you love hitting Ancients, you were coming up on the 20-minute Wisdom Rune, and you've got this Tier 1 tower still here. I think there's a lot of objectives you'd love to take with an Aegis, but maybe they don't feel confident taking a 5v5 underneath the tower.
He also just got that Tidehunter teleport cancel. It's going to prompt TSM to just smoke straight into the triangle here. Also, Atos on R. He did not go blink on the bat. Maybe to play around Glimpse or lift a bit. Either way, it's a very interesting first item choice, and it's going to set up some stomps and set up some melt strikes.
Sav trying to help Kaka live, but he does die. They're going to focus on Tomato here, but remember, he has the Aegis, so it means that Aster can't overcommit to it. As you can see, Monet is just trying to get out now. Pisho does manage to finish off that Aegis, though, with the Glimpse. Fighting back into it, though, on the second life.
He's in very deep, though. He might pay for it with his life.
The Ravage goes down, the turnaround with the Meteor Hammer landing onto 3. That's a beautiful follow-up, but Sumail is still low. He can't get any damage in during this period of time. The Crimson Guard did allow Kasani to live for a while. Monet gets off the Sunder, but they still have too much damage. Yeah, he kills Whitemon for it, but TSM will gladly take these trade-offs.
You have no armor left. That TA is going to make you disappear. I mean, Monet, he literally did 6,666 damage with the demon here, fulfilling some sort of weird prophecy, I'm sure, but not one that was favorable.
Prophecy of the TSM, that might be coming again.
Yeah. What kind of deal with the devil did?
Look, we don't want to be the best team in the world. We just want to be the second best NA team that gets ties against everyone.
Very suspicious. Either way, this is, again, the type of chaotic action TSM can force by going in that puts Aster in an awkward position with this type of lineup. The disables are not lining up with the damage. When they get to hit people, this Ravage is pretty damn good, honestly. You're getting 3 on top of a 3-man Meteor Hammer. You get a Darkseer out of it.
One thing to note, Darkseer got a lot of damage during this whole fight because the early wall got a TB illusion, and he sicked it on the TB early, and then he put it on Sumail when they went for that kill, and then he put it back on the TB again. He got a lot of damage.
That's the benefit of this matchup. They also don't have an illusion killer outside of the Glimpse.
That's true, yeah.
Which is not going to be up when it goes out, right? You might have to save it here if you're Pichu, or at least think about it, because that illusion is a problem, especially for Sumail. It's turning the Terrorblade against the Leshrac, which is one of those matchups that has been the answer to the ILS a lot of times. It's a good illusion to have here.
Close call.
TSM. They are taking control of this game, taking control of the map. The split push potential from Aster, unlike that lineup from last time, is not as good. When you have Terrorblade illusions, that's pretty much it. The rest of your lineup is based around the 5-on-5 fights. And what does your damage look for now in those 5-on-5s, especially if you let Tomato get to BKB here?
Static Storm put onto the Elder Titan. Aster really skittish about these fights. Just the first sign of aggression, they throw out some spells to try and push back against the TSM that is heavily encroaching on their territory now.
I don't think you can win a fight right now if you're Aster. I just don't see the damage. You have Pipe Crimson on Kasane. You're going to have a BKB playing out for Tomato. If I'm TSM, I want to push. I want to push it hard. I want to do it around this next Aegis and end the game there, because there is no answer right now on Aster. They're just going to have to overcome this period or come up with some crazy clutch team fight. I think Sumail could go in, use his entire mana pool and damage on these heroes, and they would just sit there.
Yeah, that's very possible. They're all pretty tanky, and they've got that early pipe.
Radiant are scanning.
Got to find some isolated targets here. Make some good smoke moves. Trying to use the Glimpse at extending your catch range. That is one mechanism that could pay off if TSM split on the map.
Are they going to split on the map, though?
I don't know.
The map is getting very small. They're pushed in all the lanes, so it's very easy to get from one lane to the other to keep it pushed in.
They don't have to split up too much, however. Scotty finished for Monet it will be the signal for Aster to try and find a glimpse here. They actually would have gotten one. had they been in position. That's still one factor Aster have going for them. If you set the fight up in a way where Monet just gets to go toe-to-toe with Tomato, it's still a very good matchup for Terrorblade at this point with the Manta Scum. Like, you're going to sit there, you're going to burn the refraction, even if he's BKB'd. If he can't blink out, Tomato will melt pretty fast. That's the type of situation Aster want to set up. I just think that's an easier thing said than done.
Yeah, how do you get that fight without, you know, Ryle in the mix or the Elder Titan taking away all of your base armor?
There's a lot of things that can interrupt the Terrorblade in those small windows you might have to finish off the Templar Assassin, right? You get stomped, you get back, there's an illusion hitting you, somebody gets getting lassoed, there's a Timber Saw in your face. It's a lot to deal with, which is another reason I think TSM really want to push this window while they have it.
Yeah.
Get this next Roche, maybe just force any team fight Aster will give to them.
And if they don't manage to close it out, then you're fighting into an Aster who do have some pretty scary late game spells. They just have a lot of big team fight, right? Nice pullback in there. Catches him mid-force stab.
I think the 4th and 5th item on this Leshrac and Terrorblade is where Aster start to become scary, which it's a lot of gold. And it might be a while to get there. However, like you said, if the game gets stalled or you throw a high ground push or something, game can get very weird very fast.
So TSM got to be clean here.
Got a decent chance to close it out if you can win a couple more team fights. Vision is your best friend. Right now it's working for Aster as they see Ahri.
Dire's bottom tower.
Those traps are also seen a lot though, as Aster just walking over them again and again. Yeah, Sentry's got to go down here.
Stolen traps from Kaka. Not nearly as many of them, but some of them helping Aster control their side of the map as well. They'll get the push out. I mean, I think TSM really doesn't want to lose the fight right now as we're closing in on second Roshan.
Another big question for Aster is, can you protect your backline? I feel like their backline's just been getting routed way too early.
Right, which is more difficult when it comes to the Roshan fight, right? Easy when you're in a high ground situation.
Yes, when you chase into TSM, it gets really weird. The thing is, their lineup does kind of want to, like, they want to go into them with the glimpse.
Trying to catch White Mod,
That's
quick
a great
Ravage,
find.
that's going to catch him right away. So, already a 4 versus 5. TSM may still feel strong enough, though. A glimpse back into the Static Storm. Caught Kasane as well. So this is quite good, especially if they can kill Kasane, take away those auras. Kasane turns around, throws out the backing wall.
Did not get the Terrorblade.
Did not get the Terrorblade, you're right. He does. Okay, now he got the illusion. Monet accidentally bumps into it, but he targets it almost immediately, and it doesn't matter either way because TSM are just fully trying to get out. BKB going to be used by Tomato to get rid of that glimpse. He cannot afford to be pulled back into Aster. I mean, that was a loss for TSM, but it's a loss they can bear. They lose Tomato, it would be very bad.
They can afford it for sure. I mean, you get level 20 on Tomato, you're still looking for this next Roshan. However, that's the type of fight that Aster are looking for with the Vision, where you get the connection finally, right? The Ravage on a very nice target in basically catching both supports here because it forces Ahri to blink out. That's as good as catching the bat.
Sure.
Finish off the Elder Titan, so much team fight gone. And now you're in a position where you can glimpse people back into your control and line it up with the damage. Everything coming together here for Aster, gets him a big core kill and puts you in a position where you can win this fight. Still, the survivability from TSM is considerable. You get this Darkseer back off. If Monet didn't walk through the wall, I think he would have been happier. Something he has to consider in the future. So lasso a Tidehunter.
Pull him back in. They have TA trap to slow him as well. So the Kraken Shell will help. But it's only going to do so much against the 5-mana TSM. And they found a double damage right as Roshan is spawned. Timing's aligning for TSM.
That is a damn good rune here. He's got Quiver on top of it. That's why those hits are hurting. You don't have armor on Tide right now. You got nothing. Tomato is just gonna 3 or 4 shot you. Silver Edge be damned. It is queued up here. If you get to that, you're even squishier. I don't think he needs the break, to be honest.
Glimpse back, potential kill on Ahri, but nobody was there to help him. Oh, maybe Kaka is. Telekinesis throw him back, uses that wall that he stole from last fight just to slow down Ahri to ensure they do get that pick off. TSM, a little bit of a slip up there.
Yeah, that's
Roshan is available.
That's not a kill you want to give up right now, because that is going to give Aster an opening to just smoke and run to the pit. It's exactly what's going to happen. Their Tidehunters respawning. This is dire side Roche for 1 more minute. You have a DD, you're racing the clock. XXS is TPing to the defensive outpost, not the aggressive one. going to waste a little more time here from Aster.
Tomato can't do this fast enough. Aster will be here in the pit.
Remember, this is theoretically a very good position for TSM to fight in if Aster go into them. With the Dark Seer vac wall, some Elder Titan control, Aghanim Scepter on Bryle as well. His front line is absolutely online. There is no dispel for it outside of a Yule's if Sumail can connect with it.
And they can stall this out long enough. The Bat Rider now rejoins them. So no longer a numbers advantage for Aster, but they're going to try and get the position advantage by re-smoking and perhaps wrapping around. No, they have to smoke up because Roshan is going to switch sides now.
You have to go through the gate or you give this up.
Yep.
Bold moves win games. Aster will take the
Bryle's
position.
already there. Bryle is going to set up with all of Aster showing up. He's already popped his reactive arm. Yule Scepter's going to be rid of that one. They have the Ravage to be able to control some of these heroes. And TSM funnel in, but a big splinter does manage to land serious damage. And Bryle is still not dead. Sumail's limping away a sliver of HP, but he gets brought down by the TA. Who I think was even using the TA traps to get the side blade to wipe on. Oh, that's the illusion. Don't let it hit you. No! He goes down to the illusion ultimately. A pit of death or a high ground of death.
What
3
the hell
for
was
4.
I guess it works out for TSM. I don't know if either team was really expecting that, as they basically just instantly threw down everything on top of that hill. BKB for Tomato reigns supreme as he ignores most of it. Monet escapes. That's a consolation factor here. It's just tough to get locked in there with the Leshrac while all that's going down and you don't have the spell immunity of your own.
Yeah.
Bold moves win games, bold moves also backfire.
I mean, I think in this situation, it was Bryle's bold move. He went straight to that and said, if you guys are going to go through the portal,
I mean, that is,
I've got my Aghanim Scepter. You're going to have to use Yules right away on me.
That's the correct play for sure. Like, the fact Bryle gets there before Aster on that hill saves that fight, right? If they're all there when he walks up, you might just be in a situation where you can instantly burst him, because then you don't have to Yules him to get rid of the shell.
Sure.
And he just dies. So, little timings here.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if you Yules off the Aghanim Scepter active, he still gets all the reactive armor charges, which is super important.
He gets the charges and he's in the air for the 2.5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means TSM get to come in with Vax, with Stomps, with all this nastiness that's going to start getting pumped into the Leshrac.
That situation also meant they missed Ravage on it.
Yes. The Ravage is very awkward. Honestly, pretty hard to tell what it's even doing in that situation. End result, though, TSM do get that Roche. Wasn't how I envisioned it for them, but they get there. And that is Aegis plus Silver Edge completed for Tomato. He's had a perfect game so far, and he wants to use it to close this one out. This is the ultimate TA power spike right now. Can you finish Aster off? Can you get a lane? Can you get a fight?
TA trap slowing him down. Rod of Atos catching him.
There's a break.
Tidehunter is just going to be continually... Oh, the pipe usage to make sure he can get a blink away despite the flame break dodge, but he cannot get far enough away to slip out of TSM's sight.
This is just time. That's all you're getting out of this one. Do get this BKB on Sumail. That's a pretty big item in this game. And you have a Silver Edge on Monet as well, so he can kind of skirt in and start the fight on his own target if he wants to. Probably looking for supports. You take this Bat Rider and Elder Titan out, the fight opens up a lot for your other cores.
Radiant's middle tower is
I
under
don't think you can really start on Bryle. I think he's just way too damn tanky. 4,000 HP for the cheese as well. And technically he doesn't have BKB. It just seems so damn hard. You gotta remember there's a pipe behind him, there's a Crimson behind him, there's 4 stabs. Tomato siege begins.
is under attack. Dire structures are fortified.
That's Aster. What do you do with this initiation? Silver Edge straight to the TA.
It's a lot of damage.
It was, but
So they got the
really
bat.
got scared of it. Yeah, they got the bat. That's a free pickoff right there. Great vacuum with the Ravage to be able to respond. Despite the vacuum, there wasn't a really good follow-up from the team, and they've now stolen Wall of Replica. Now they're going to back away from the BKB Tomato. And be careful of him. Looks like Sumail may be in some trouble. The pullback of the Chakram isn't quite enough, and another attempt to get it in the end. Bryle catches up to him.
Is it gonna
he has
cost
the Timber
him?
Chain through the wall, and he'll get out. Glimpse back.
Drag
Another
him
attempt,
back.
another Timber Chain. He goes in, tries to go for Kaka, but he'll be denied for that. But the rest of his team did jump in and immediately killed Monet. They were so focused on the Timber Saw that Tomato saw his opportunity, jump back in, and destroys Aster inside of their own base and gets a TP out. The buybacks will claim nothing. Well, hold it, they'll get wipe on, but it's a far cry from what they wanted out of those buybacks. They needed a kill on Tomato there.
Triple buy for Aster, very costly, especially this Monet buy. And like you said, you don't even get Tomato out of that. He still has Aegis, by the way. Look at the damage, man. It is indeed Templar Assassin versus 5 here. That is not how TSM wanted that high ground fight to start. Ari, the poke is interesting. The poke did not end up working out as you just get glimpsed into a kinetic field, instantly die, basically no team fight impact. I think you lost your gem out of that as well. It's a successful hold for Aster, a very costly one. However, successful as you get through this second Aegis period. I do feel like this was a pivotal fight for TSM in terms of
look at the
TA
lined up
impact.
for Sideways.
And this Sunder was crazy good for Monet. Unfortunately, Bryle has cheese, so it just pops him straight back up. Otherwise, I think that fight can go even better for Aster here, especially if Sumail lives. This Timber Chain is very necessary.
Watch Tomato see his opportunity, jump back in on a stun Terrorblade.
Well, we won't see him, Cap, because you're too slow.
What's that on me?
I don't know. I just put it on you.
25 Tomato. That is a Templar Assassin that just got a whole lot harder to deal with those refraction instances.
Yeah, just gonna time out here. This is as good as it gets for him.
Is under attack.
Like, this is where you really want to pound in the paint. Especially with no buyback on Monet. You find this Terrorblade again, you might just be able to go throne. Juke getting the vision. Very good ward if Aster can use it here.
Radiant are scanning.
Hurricane Pike
Radiant's bottom tower
trying to
is
play
under
the
attack.
distance against this Templar Assassin. So now when he gets jumped on by the TA, push him away. Scotty hit him,
Dire's
trying to
top
kite the
tower
TA
is
a bit
under
more.
attack.
I think if Monet can get this Satanic here, this game becomes pretty scary, right? I don't think your burst situations on him are as secure as they were before. I mean, if you ever have an ET on top of him, okay, he's gonna melt. There
Yeah,
goes
you're
your gem.
not going to be able to D-ward outside of your base. That's not going to work for you.
Now, that was an aggressive move. If they're not there, it's very valuable, but they are there. They do have another gem, so maybe Aster felt like it wasn't the biggest loss.
They don't have another life on the Disruptor, though.
That is also true. He's out for 60 seconds. Brow's gonna poke their high ground. Almost level 25 himself. He gets like one more level off of one team fight. That unlocks a lot more scaling damage for TSM with the double chakram here.
Yeah, then he's really able to compete with Sumail when it comes to damage output.
Absolutely. And we got this Ags done for Kasane. So now you have punch up. It's another TB illusion you can create, a far more reliable one in case the first gets glimpsed.
I think all the fights that are good for Aster are when they kill Kasane with relatively low impact from him.
That has been a huge factor. They've locked this Darkseer down either in the Ravage or the kinetic field, and Monet has just bursted him. And you take a lot of these spells that are going to win TSM the long fights out of the engagement.
Ooh, trying to catch him, immediate response from Kaka with the telekinesis. Ari will pay the price once again for trying to intrude into the Aster base.
Those are hard goes. I know he has Aether Lens and Blink, and if you get that, maybe you just get a lane or a buyback out of it. The lift is going to be instant, right?
Yeah, you're pretty much relying on Aster to make a mistake.
I think even if you get the lasso off, you're not getting out there. It's a tough move.
Not the Bat Rider thinking about it. Oh, they've already broken the Tidehunter, though. He gets an Ogre Seal Totem away, but he's going to be cut down by Bryle. Now they got the Terrorblade illusion. Monet has to get out of here. He knows he has to deal with his own illusion, which is turned around onto Sumail and brings him to his knees.
Where is the answer for this illusion? Where is the glimpse?
Yeah, they gotta kill it instantly. I mean, you could see Monet, like, when he gets hit by it, whether it's the wall or the punch now, he instantly tries to deal with the illusion, but he can't kill it fast enough.
I mean, it messed Sumail up there for sure.
Yeah.
He did not like getting hit by that at all. That's going to be your meta down. So if you're TSM, okay, you don't have Aegis here. You have that level 25 refraction talent, though, and you have this invincible Timber Saw, who is XP off 25, just gets it. Yeah, you're going high ground, right? What is Monet's answer right now?
I will say, I think the correct play is definitely going high ground, but if they stay too long, Roshan is going to respawn. If you lose this fight off of some sort of glimpse situation,
That's very
and you
true.
give the Roshan to Aster, you will highly regret this move.
Okay, but how do you lose this fight? Surely it's impossible without meta.
Oh, you're really trying to curse TSM, aren't you?
Surely it's impossible. As Kaka says, the glimpses are not there, but Dagon will be there to kill this Terrorblade that's killing my Leshrac.
Got the lasso on
Not
Kaka,
dead.
but they need a Ravage in response. They're going to go for the Terrorblade, who's already broken, but he pops a BKB and start putting the damage back out. He's going to get the distance. Nice vacuum to try and catch Aster as they're trying to reset a little bit. Tomato's stuck inside the base here. Uh-oh. Yule Scepter into a
BKB.
stun with the, good stomp. Whitemon may have just helped Tomato. They're going to get the force staff down to the low ground, and he's okay. They might have been able to finish him off in that small window of
He was in
time, but a
trouble.
beautiful stomp from Whitemon.
He was definitely in trouble. Gems on the ground here, wall out. I think TSM are happy to get out of here without losing anybody. Again, like you said, you drop Tomato there, then you're in a situation where you have to buy him back to contest the Roshan, and meta would be up for that fight. Another pretty successful base defense from Aster. Okay, you're bleeding out some net worth here, but it's a very tough position. Double damage in the river. They see this on the ward.
Now, they are going for this
Rune of
contest
Destiny.
without Ravage, but a DD is enough to swing things for sure.
It's too tempting. I mean, Monet's got Divine on his mind right here.
Yeah, he knows. We are in a do or die scenario.
Scanning.
Start setting up for that Roshan. Scythe of Ice complete for the Timber Saw. We've got the Dagging you were talking about to try and deal with the TB Illusion Steel.
Dealing with the Terrorblade Illusions is a big factor of Aster's team fight. It's also the buybacks here. This is Radiant Side Roach with Radiant Outpost. You have a Templar Assassin buyback, you have a Darkseer buyback. Those are two very big ones you have to cut through twice if you're Aster. It's not as simple anymore as you just jump the Darkseer, burst him, and that fight looks good for you. He's just coming straight back. You're also just trying to get to this Divine for Monet. He is not too far away. He's like 1,000 off. You could sell treads here too. He might do it. Oh, yeah, he has it. So this is going to be a disassembled Divine. He's going to assemble it in the fight, pop a double damage rune, and just go to town and pray to the heavens that it is enough, because this is basically all in for Aster.
They
No
have 20
buybacks
seconds
here.
left for a Ravage.
Are scanning.
This is going to be
make those
forced
crits
without
count.
it. It's looking like.
Tomato's just doing Roche.
Yeah, they can't get inside the pit to be able to get some vision. They're just going to have to blindly go in their reflection to get some ideas.
Double damage popped.
Middle tower is under attack.
You try and man up for this. If you're Monet,
Really want to use this timer, and they've got the Ravage up. Time to go if
Yes,
you want to
Symbols.
use the DD. They've
They
got
found
the
the TA.
initiation. They're going to go for the Terrorblade. Can they actually get there in time?
can't
The
get on
TA
top of
controlled up, but it's so hard. The Terrorblade's taking too much damage. He gets off the Sunder, but the initiation has been ruined. Monet tries to do what he can, but it's never going to be enough. They needed the cleanest initiation you could ask for, but TSM Bryle ran in there. Him and Ari completely interrupted Aster's attempt.
such a clutch hex by Bryle. There was a flame bake from Ari into the hex on the Terrorblade. He never got to hit this Templar Assassin once during that Ravage Tendril lockdown. That has been the bane of Aster this entire game. Can you line the disables up with the damage? You had the damage, you had the disable, but you didn't have them together. Might just win TSM the game here, as you do not have buybacks on anybody here for Aster. That was your all-in. It ended up being everything into Tomato's pocket as he'll go to base because he has an Axe and he can come straight back.
Yeah, even if TSM take their sweet, sweet time hitting every single building in the Dire base,
Under attack.
they have taken a huge net worth away from Terrorblade in that Divine Rapier. So, Aster, I'm not sure what they're going to be waiting for here. They think they can somehow hold this. I don't see how it's even possible.
They're just watching their Terrorblade's net worth demolish their own buildings.
Yeah.
Is under attack.
As Tomato put on a Templar Assassin clinic here, 10-0 and 14, he'll force the GG out of him. Just a perfect game. He never got touched in the laning phase. None of the rotations ever went to that bottom side. They invaded the triangle once
confidence, right?
I mean, morale, mentality
Yeah.
for the NA region as a whole. It's big in a lot of ways, you know, and
They have
also
some tough opponents ahead of them, too. They still have to face BBT, which
Yes.
is a rough one, but then they also have to face up against Tundra, who is struggling as well, and they could just push Tundra down into that elimination spot and carry themselves up,
No, this
sparing
was-
their own lives.
This was a big win. Like you said, you take the 1-1 off Aster, who are basically doing the best at this tournament. You should be very happy with that, especially when it's a game to win. That feels better than the game 1 win and you lose, because then at least you can carry the momentum into the next series here. Moon seems pretty